Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Friday. Hurrah! End of the week. End of another chaotic, twirly and whatever the word is week. Good morning. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me. If you are watching, do pop a hello in the comments so that I can be polite and so that I know who's there, because there's lurkers. I know there's lurkers. Come on, show yourselves. She says, hopefully, waiting for the computer to catch up with me. The computer feels a bit slow this morning. I think it's picking up on vibes. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Xenia. Pete is opposite me working hard, and Eric is washing his feet. So if you hear a strange noise, it's Eric washing his feet. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Emma. Good morning, Sephora. Or from lurking from New Zealand, and it's cold. I think you're winter, aren't you? It's allowed to be cold. Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, Ravenwolf. Good morning, Humphrey. Good morning, Christine. Happy birthday for yesterday. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Alison. Good morning, Denise. Wow, lots of people. Good morning, Cos. Congratulations. Cos has just completed her Forest of Oak. Yay. Good morning, Karen. Wow, lots of lovely people. What are you all doing up at this time of the morning? Good morning, Leslie. Good morning, Deb. And Eric's got bored already. That's impressive. Bye. Gone out to the garden. Good morning, Trudy. Welcome to Friday morning again. I've lost count of how many this is now. Should tally them up, really, shouldn't I? It's a good 2 and a bit years worth of Friday mornings. Yeah, you might need more than 10 fingers to count them. Good morning, Helen. Welcome. So this morning, I thought, I'm just reading the comments. Just carry on and reading the comments. Xenia's having breakfast with a lovely coffee. Coffee.
Already? Thanks, Xenia.
Good morning, Luna. Good morning, Maharet. God, it's a dry old do in here. Christine's been up since 5 a.m. Thanks to the Spaniels. Yeah, Spaniels do like to get up early, don't they?
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Oh, that's a nice surprise. Thank you. What a lovely idea. Spaniels do like to be up early, don't they? Thankfully, Eric's lazy. Cos is off to the spa today. Fantastic. Have a very lovely day. Good morning, Helen. Marianne, first time catching live, always watch the replays. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Xenia had to make the coffee herself. Good morning, Annette. Welcome, everyone. So I haven't got a particular subject this week. I'm going to do the Ask the Witch thing because I've got various different questions that I've picked up from emails or messages or Facebook. Good morning, Lani. Yes, Sue, did someone say coffee? Yeah, kettle's on, Sue. Karen's latte has just arrived. Excellent. I hope there's cake too. The various questions that I picked up from bits and pieces, none of them really a whole subject in themselves. So I'm going to work through some questions that people have asked today. If you've got any other general questions on witchcraft or anything that I might vaguely know about, pop them in the comments and we will cover them. And as always, when I've put the question out there, if you've got any thoughts or insights, do share your thoughts with us in the comments because that's how we all learn. Good morning, Susie. Cause latte. Yeah, I do like a latte. Sue needs an espresso. Need a kick up the bum today. If I had an espresso, you'd have to peel me off the ceiling. I'm bad enough with a latte. Good morning, Louise. Yeah, coffee's a bit. We need it. But it works well in magic too. I do put instant coffee in a lot of my spells. because it gives it a kick up the bum. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Vanessa. Maybe my last live for a while, hours changing at work. Well, boo for missing the last lives, but hopefully the hours changing at work will be better for you. That's the important part. It is still sunny down in the south of England today, a little bit cooler, a little bit of a wind, a breeze, which is rather pleasant. Annette used to drink triple shot cappuccinos. Wow, you would. I would be zinging for weeks. Xenia, espresso is my kind of magical potion. Mostly drink Americano. Espresso with hot water, indeed. Yeah, that would be, I would just be totally. Sue, beautiful in Somerset, not a cloud in the sky. It is, that's what it is here. It's very beautiful blue sky today. Got lots of orders for coffee, so you, yeah. And Christine says she is still waiting for hot chocolate. It's on its way.
Yeah.
He's growing the cocoa beans so that it's nice and fresh. Right, let's Brighton, Scotland for a change. Excellent. Hang on, lots of questions now. All right, let's deal with your questions first. Humphrey, let's get some of these up. So Humphrey says, that's an intriguing idea. I love the idea of using coffee and magic. I use it all the time, Humphrey. It has got lots of magical properties. Let's get a book out. That way.
Any book?
So coffee, I do. I put a sprinkling of instant coffee. You can use coffee beans as well. You could use coffee grinds. Into lots of spell pouches, or you can roll candles in them, because it does give the spell a bit of a kick up the bottom. It gives it a kind of energy boost, moves the spell along quickly. So coffee, energy. It's also good for clarity. If you need the clarity of a situation, then add a sprinkle of coffee for that as well. And of course, you can read coffee grinds like you read tea leaves. Ruled by the planet Mars. It's the element of fire and water, and it is a feminine agenda. So really, really good for working magic with. Coffee also works well in hex breaking or curse breaking spells as well. It's good stuff to work with and drink, obviously. Oh, one moment. The dog's blanket's not straight. Right. Get there. Sephora is waiting for the meteor shower due tonight. Fingers crossed. Right, let's deal with it. I'm missing, all the questions have jumped backwards now. Right, there's one from Ravenwolf. Do you think empathic people can read minds? Like to know more about empathy. I think anyone can read a mind, although reading mind not like you see on the stage where the magicians do it. I think empathic people pick up on energies. I think empathic people pick up on feelings and emotions rather than actually be able to read. I don't think anybody can necessarily read someone's mind exactly, but I think empathic people pick up on energy far more than people that aren't empathic. It can be a plus, it can be a minus if you are empathic. And I find that a lot of us witches are. You'll pick up on energies, whether they're good or bad. So if you are in a group of people, crowd of people, it can be quite overwhelming because you get bombarded with all of their feelings, their emotions, their energies. So being able to psychically shield, bring up your bubble shield, is very highly recommended. If you are with a person that's quite draining, and then we give them the name psychic vampires, a lot of psychic vampires don't even know they're doing it. If you've been out with someone and during the day you've been chatting and you come home feeling drained, it's quite often because they're sucking your emotions, your feelings, your energy into their aura. So shielding, good for that as well. And if you are empathic, you're more likely to pick up on that as well. No, I don't think anyone can read minds exactly like that, but empathic people do pick up on energies and feelings. You can gauge how someone's feeling. You will quite often know that someone's upset or angry or without them outwardly showing it, because you pick up on their energy. Psychic shields are very useful if you're empathic. So no, not exactly read minds, but you pick up on their feelings and their emotions. Hopefully that answered that one. Oh, just get my coffee mat ready. Oh, look, a cup of coffee. Thank you. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Sue, what do you see as the difference between the High Priestess level and the Hawthorne level, the Kitchen Witch school studies? Interested to know how you see the role. So if you are unfamiliar with the Kitchen Witch online school, we teach witchcraft. It's a very in-depth course. It takes a lot of commitment. We have 3 levels: Oak, Ash and Hawthorne. Hawthorne is the 3rd level, and it teaches you a lot of the in-depth stuff that you need to know, and it does prepare you for things such as dealing with the other world, dealing with the emotional sides of it, dealing with the history of witchcraft, but it also teaches you about dealing with other students if you are teaching. So the Hawthorne level does take you into a lot of shadow work as well. So it will help you become more aware of yourself and your own characteristics and how to deal with them. A high priestess, not everyone is suited to be a high priestess. Not everyone wants to be a high priestess or a high priest. But that role allows you to start your own covenant if you wanted to. But it also gives you the knowledge and the experience and the confidence to run your own rituals, to step into a leadership role. And I think that's really what the high priestess level is. It's about being a leader. And it doesn't work for everyone, and not everyone is suited to it. And it is a very big commitment. So I think it is leadership is probably the short answer to that. That the high priestess is a leader and a man manager, for want of a better phrase, too, which is not always easy. So that's kind of the difference. But we can talk some more about that, so if you want to. Xenia says coffee equals magical beans, lots of energy. Definitely. Morning, Charlie. Jane, I tried a quadruple shot Americano years ago. The barista said if he drank that, he'd have a heart attack. Then the palpitation started. It was scary. Never again. Yeah, that's not something I would advise. Christine, do you think that coffee on my garden will stop cats pulling up newly planted flowers and leaving their prezzies? Yeah, I have struggled with that ourselves. We've tried lots of things. We've tried coffee. We've tried orange peel, supposed to work as well. That
dog.
Yeah, we got a dog. That did seem to cure quite a lot.
Not yesterday.
No, not yesterday. He didn't even see the cat that was sitting at the bottom of the garden. But I haven't found anything particularly useful other than the sonic devices that send out a high-pitched sound that apparently only cats can hear. That worked quite effectively, but no, I haven't tried coffee. I feed coffee to the hydrangeas. Sephora is suggesting chili powder. Haven't tried that one. Helen says, good luck to anyone who can read my mind. I think it would be rather scary, wouldn't it, to be able to read other people's minds? It's probably not something you want to do. Good morning, Eva. I'm just rolling back to make sure that I didn't miss any questions. I think we're all right. Yeah, Janice says, I find Mal's over the holidays are more overwhelming. Hearing all the thoughts, shields are so important. Yes, I think if you are an empath in any group of people, you need to bring your shields up because it can be very overwhelming. Jane says, my hubby and I use empathy. He gives me a look that says, I'd love an egg butty. So I give him a look that says, you know where the kitchen is. Excellent. Excellent. Christine, I went for an interview for the crystal shop, answered the questions before the owner asked me. Yeah, that's a side of empathy too, isn't it? I think, but I think that's probably more to do with your intuition and your witchcraft, isn't it? Your intuition kind of kicks in there. Xenia, often I have an immediate feeling about people, yes, whether they are good or bad for me, and later I find out I was right. Sometimes my mind explains the first expression away and trust them, but later I find out that my first feeling towards the person was right. See, I call that intuition rather than empathy. I think our intuition is always bang on the mark, and I think it is part of our journey to learn to trust our intuition. The times that I have ignored it, I've come a cropper. Is learning to trust that your intuition will never let you down. If it gives you a hinky feeling about someone, some person, some place, trust it, because it's never wrong. Emma, is it possible to accidentally slip into other realms? I feel I've slipped into the spirit realm more than once without meaning to. It was very blue-grey when I was there. I think there are probably a lot of realms that we don't even understand. As Terry Pratchett calls it, there are various trouser legs of reality. And I think, yes, it is. It is very possible to slip into other places without knowing where you are or meaning to. Just be wary of it and be mindful that you are always in control, because sometimes it can be a little bit scary. Again, that's where your intuition kicks in too. If you feel you've slipped into a place and it's uncomfortable, get yourself out of there quick. But yes, I do feel it. Absolutely. Good morning, Alex. Janet made a wake-up wand and stained it with coffee. Excellent. Chili. Yeah, Sue's recommending chili pepper to keep cats away as well. Ray, morning. I won't drink any caffeine drinks as I find caffeine overtakes my senses too much. Do drink alcohol sometimes though. See, caffeine gives me a little bit of a zing. Alcohol I don't generally drink because it does overtake my senses, my sensibilities. So I don't drink very often. Charles, love your books. Thank you very much. Do you have any suggestions on beginners tarot books? Something that goes over theory rather than listing card meanings. There's various tarot books out there. But I would suggest just go with your intuition on it. The way that I teach tarot, we don't read a book. I mean, every tarot set comes with the book, but I get people to just put the book to one side, work with the tarot cards themselves, get to know the tarot cards themselves. I read intuitively, so I don't learn things by rote. I look at the cards. Tarot cards are a tool. It's you that brings the divination skills, the magic, the intuition, the insight. The cards are just a tool, and it can be a tarot deck, an oracle deck, a pack of playing cards. It could be your coffee grounds. Divination is all based on the same thing, that it's a tool for you to use your skills. So I just work through the cards and say what you see. Turn a card over and say what you see. And how you work with them is up to you, really. I'm just struggling because I don't have a tarot book that I've ever sort of read and thought that's taught me tarot. Because I just picked up the cards and I work with them. So that, if I think of anything, Charles, afterwards I'll pop a link. But take your tarot deck and literally just look at each card and say what you see. Get to know the cards. You can meditate with each of the cards, take a picture on the card and dive into it to meditate, to learn how to use it. But I do read intuitively, so that's how I would take it. But if I think of anything afterwards, or if anyone on here has got a recommendation for a tarot book, pop it in the comments so that Charles can see it. Good question, though. Janice says, sometimes cats just need their own private patch of catnip, their own drug corner. Lani says, curry plants are meant to be good. They do smell of curry too. Good morning, Anne. Cause intuition is the most important thing. Absolutely. I use it all the time with work when we look at taking on clients. Whiff of the hinky and no thank you. Yeah. A couple of times we have and it's been a mess. Yes, you've got to trust it, haven't you? It won't let you down. Jane, I always go with my intuition now. If we always listen to it and never ignored it, there's no such thing as hindsight. Yeah, you have to trust your intuition. Alex, we live within an onion full of layer of reality. As we progress, we can peel away the layers, opening more insight and realities. Very good analogy. I like that one. We live in an onion. Yeah, Christine, with tarot, I find that I learn more by looking at each one and get the message from the picture. Yes, absolutely. Claire, that's the name I was trying to think of. Colette Brown does have a book on tarot, which is very good. I'm trying to think what it's. Let's have a look. Colette Brown tarot book. Right, yes. Colette Brown, Tarot from Novice to Pro, it's called. I have read that one. That is actually very good. Thank you for that one, Claire. Oh, Jen. I remember when my first mentor made me read in a coffee shop with no book. I was amazed how easy it all came. It is about trusting your intuition when you're tarot reading too, or doing any kind of divination. Trust what comes into your head. It might sound bizarre. Words and thoughts might come into your head and you think, what on earth is that? Just say it, because that's your skills coming out and it will be right. And it's learning to trust yourself too. Jane, I was so lucky to find a great tarot teacher and I'm nearly ready to read now. I'd suggest asking around for a word of mouth recommendation if you move in witchy circles. I learned face to face as well when I first started reading, which helps. Sue says, learning the tarot by Joan Bunning is good. It has a course to work through. There you go. Ravenwolf, can you use any type of tarot? I'm seeing a lot within Pokemon cards. Actually, that's an interesting question. And I have a new tarot deck. I've worked with tarot for many years, but I have a new tarot deck I've had for a couple of months now. It's called the Alleyman's Tarot. And it's actually what they call a Magpie deck. So each of the cards, I've got it here actually. Each of the cards is from a completely different deck. There are, I think I've got 135 cards here. There you go. It's a big old deck. There's 135 cards there, as opposed to the normal 70-something that's in a normal tarot deck. And each card is from a completely different tarot deck. There are old historic ones. There are new ones. There's the bizarre ones. This deck's got 8 death cards, and I think it's got 3 tower cards. It's got all the 4 suits, but then it's got extra ones as well, like really strange ones. It's got let's have a lightning in a bottle card. It's got the relic card, the Queen of Strays card. So it's got all the usual ones, and then it's got extras of some of them, and then it's just got random bizarre cards. And one of the cards in there is from a game. So like Mr. Bun the Baker from the Happy Families cards. So this idea of a Magpie deck is brilliant because you put together so that you've got the standard set, but from all different sets, from ones that you like, and then you add in other things as well. So you could have extra death cards, you could have extra tower cards. I think there's 2 world cards in there as well. But it's also, you could add Pokemon cards, you could add playing cards. Some people I've seen see nice pictures that they like on the side of a tea bag box. So they cut it out to a card shape and put it in the deck. As long as it has an image and something that means something to you, you can use it to read. You can read tarot from Pokemon cards. You could read it from top trump cards. They are just tools that hone your skill. But the Magpie deck, I am so taken with. It's brutal. It is brutally honest, but I absolutely love it. And I love the idea that you can make it your own and you can have as few or as many cards in it as you want. It's an absolutely brilliant idea. But yes, you could read tarot with Pokemon cards quite easily. Timothy has put theory for tarot, Paul Foster Case. Thank you. Recommendations that people have already read are always very useful. Emma, I've also time slipped. I've seen my uncle arrive home 5 minutes before he did, saw him come through the gate and had time repeat itself. Yeah, it does. It happens. Once you step into that witchy world, things like that do happen. Humphrey says, one book I found very useful was Tarot Magic by Sasha Graham. Thank you, Humphrey. Christine says, The Tarot Spellcaster by Terry Donaldson. Good ideas for spells using tarot cards. I've got a blog on a blog post on my personal blog about working magic with tarot cards. I use them a lot, particularly oracle cards as well, in spell working, because it gives you a focus. It gives you a focus for the intent. Timothy says, Tarot Skills for the 21st Century, Josephine McCarthy. Very good. Thank you. Xenia attended tarot classes via Zoom at Treadwell's. Learned so much from it. Love to attend classes instead of just reading a tarot book. Humphrey says it is. Double check the title. Magic of Tarot by Sasha Graham. Thank you. Hi, Leanne. Zephora says, I got a whole load of tarot books from the library. Good idea. Found Sky Alexander's Modern Witchcraft Book of Tarot was the one I purchased. Thank you. Janice says, never second guess the information that comes through. This honestly has made me the strong reader that I am. Yes, you've got to say what you see and trust that that is the right thing to say. No matter how bizarre it might sound, you have to go with it. Amanda says, every time I handle my tarot deck, my normally antisocial cat sits on my lap and stares intently at the cards. Brilliant. Jane says, my teacher finished the card meanings with me this week. Then she said, now forget everything I've taught you and go away and read the tarot, which is spot on, which is why I don't get people to read the book. I get them to read the cards. And that is the important thing. Xenia, yeah. You can use everything as an oracle. Why not Pokemon cards? Pokemon would work very well. Yeah, absolutely. Leanne says, Carrie Paris refers to Magpie in her charm casting oracle. What does Magpie mean then? Well, if you think about the habits of a magpie, they like to collect lots of different things. So a Magpie tarot deck is about collecting different cards from all different decks and putting them together to create your own tarot deck. It is literally picking all the cards and images and things that you like from everywhere, whether it is Pokemon cards, playing cards, photos, pictures that you've seen, and you bring them all together to create your one deck. So it is about just collecting all the bits and pieces you like and bringing them together to make your own tarot deck. And I think we can use any cards we are drawn to using. I've been drawn to, I sort of thought, oh, that's a good idea. I bought an Arthurian tarot set because I thought that'd be fab. I didn't connect with it at all. I have worked generally with the Thoth tarot deck and Shadowscapes. Both are very different decks, but I love reading with both of those. But this Aliman's Tarot, which is the Magpie deck, and the idea of bringing images of cards and pictures together that mean something to you is just genius. Louise, what a fabulous idea it is. I think it's a brilliant idea. Janice, after my mother crossed over, I inherited many of her cards. They are precious to me. She was the person who first taught me, and they will carry her energy, which is brilliant. Christine says she doesn't need a hot chocolate now. She's just had a lazy day, millionaire shortbread, gluten-free, milk and egg-free, and vegan and flavor-free. Yeah, I'll stick with the hot chocolate. Janice, I do that not just with reading, but with rituals as well. I mix and mingle decks. Brilliant. I think it is an absolutely brilliant idea. Louise, I have my mother's too, very special to me. She was an elder and a high priestess with 13 covens hyped off from her original. She was a very amazing lady, Louise. And her deck will carry her energy too. Jane says, Mildred Payne's Secret Pocket Oracle is my favorite oracle deck. Looks a bit dark, but it's so simple and evocative to use, especially with a tarot reading for a bit of extra content. You can mix oracle cards into your tarot deck too. Janice says, one thing I have told students is that the most powerful spells you will ever do will always come from you. Yes. I always say, never pay a person to work a spell for you, because they won't be as invested in the result as you are. So the power of working a spell is much better if you work it yourself. Definitely. Charles says, thank you for the recommendations. You're very welcome. We like to help each other out. Anne says, I love oracle cards and they are such amazing intuition way of reading. I never used the book. Feel it needs to come from one's intuition. Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't need to apologize, Leanne. I'd never heard of a Magpie deck until I got this one. It is literally about, because magpies collect things. Well, actually, they steal things, let's be honest. So I'm not suggesting you steal tarot cards. But the magpie idea is collecting all different things and putting them together. Janice, I find taking a card one at a time and doing journal work and dream work with them so very helpful. Yes, I always recommend meditating with them as well. Lani, many books can say one thing, but sometimes you can feel something different. Had this and it becomes too confusing. Definitely trust your own intuition. Yes, definitely. Emma, I'm terrible at reading books based on the tarot. They never make sense to me. Since I've been learning from Kitchen Witch School, I've learned so much more and used my own intuition than I have before. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Brilliant. Oh, I've jumped. There we go. Jane says, if you want a unique deck that's easy to handle, you can get packs of plain playing cards on Amazon and put your own images on the cards. Perfect. The ones with the navy blue squarey pattern on the back are good. That's what some of the people that have worked with these Magpie decks, they draw their own images on cards and put them in with the deck as well. So brilliant idea. Good morning, Lizzie. Eva, I have several decks and generally use what calls to me when reading for other people. Yes, I find that sometimes one reading will warrant, like the Thoth deck, for instance, and another reading will warrant the Shadowscapes deck, because they're both very different. Otherwise, I tend to use my main deck, whatever that happens to be at the moment, for myself daily. Erin, I've thought about, sorry, I'm just trying to pick up all these comments. There's a lot to sift through today, which is brilliant. I've thought about designing my own deck for a while now. Thanks for the recommendation. There you go. Blank playing cards from Amazon. But this whole idea of Magpie deck just appeals to me completely. And then you can pick the card that you like from a certain deck and another one from somewhere else, and oracle cards and somewhere else. If you look on Facebook in particular, the Aliman Tarot group, they actually do card swaps. So, you know, I've kept the 3 of cups from this deck, but I've got the, you know, Queen of something, and I've got the tower of something on swap. So you can swap with other people as well, which is a brilliant idea. Janice, in my classes, we work on poetry and mingling into spell work. Creativity is everything, and letting your mind be open to things that pull you. Absolutely. I'm rubbish at poetry, but words have power. Words have a lot of power. And that's where a lot of your intent comes from within spell work, is your words. And it doesn't have to be beautifully poetic. It doesn't have to rhyme. It just has to flow, and it has to be from the heart. That's the important part. Jane said there was a deck with that part work, Mind, Body, Spirit, decades ago, that had multiples of some of the cards. I fished out all the quartz and majors and used them for extra people-y information along with a normal deck. Brilliant. Brilliant. So Sephora says magic in storms. I'm intending to talk about storm and weather magic next week, Sephora. So we'll do a whole chat on that. But I actually had tarot cards down on one. Someone asked, how many tarot and oracle decks do you have? I think it's a bit like crystals. Once you have one, you start collecting lots. But I think there are decks that you will be drawn to and others that you won't. So it's again, it's about trusting your intuition. But if you make your own tarot deck, Magpie deck, whatever you want to call it, then you can make it specifically for you, which is a brilliant idea. Lizzie said, been using cards intuitively for years. I find them really helpful. I often pull 3 cards, past, present, future, on a subject I'm challenged with. Really helps me to focus and develop a new view of the situation. The 3-card spread is a traditional one, isn't it? It's very, very good for gaining clarity. What I've been doing, and what I do generally with any new deck that I get, is I draw a card each day. To get used to the images on the cards and to get used to their meanings and how it reflects in my day. And then I draw 3 or 4 cards at the beginning of each week to see what the week's going to hold. The only way that you are going to learn to read the tarot is by using the cards. So using them daily, even if it is just pulling 1 or 2 a day, and saying what you see. Keeping a note of them helps, or just keeping that one, pull a card a day and keep that card out, and then at the end of the day review it and see what's happened. You've got to make a connection with them, and by that you've got to use them. Janice, one of my friends found 2 of my decks were missing cards. I told him that they still work just the way they should for me. You obviously didn't need those 2 cards. Christine has 8 packs of tarot now. I used to have a lot. I have whittled it down. To just a few. Anne wants the link for the card swap. I'll have to look it up. Anne, I'm writing it down. I'll put the link in the comments when I've finished. Link for the Alliman card swap. This was the Alliman tarot that I've got was a Kickstarter that I backed a couple of years ago, and then it was all held up with COVID and everything. And I like the idea, didn't really know what to expect, but what I received was far outweighed my expectations at all. Unfortunately, it was just a 1 print run. But the whole idea of making your own card deck has kind of seems to have bloomed. So make your own. It's brilliant. Emma, I do have a deck of cards, not tarot, more like oracle cards, called Gypsy Card. They have no meaning book with them, so it's intuitive all the way. And I think that's how it should be. Sephora, how does everyone clean their cards? Got gifted a used set the other day. Absolutely stoked, but hope I've cleaned them proper. With cards, obviously you can't wash them. I pass them through smoke sometimes, but I generally keep a couple of small crystal tumblestones in the tarot bag, often amethyst or quartz, just to clean them really with each general. With it after each reading. So I tend to use crystals to clean them with. Janice, when I was in my 20s, I introduced my sons to crystals. We actually meditated and named our crystals. Will never forget my middle son's green aventurine named Jake. Great. Kids and crystals work really well. Claire has a tattoo, tarot, ink, and intuition deck. Looks good, not used it yet. Sounds interesting. Erin is afraid to count all of her decks. I've opened them all, except for one tarot deck that felt super weird when it arrived. And even though I'm trying to cleanse the back, just had to get rid of it. Trust in your intuition. Trust your intuition. Eva, I started using the Seasons of the Witch Oracle cards. I have the Beltane, Samhain, and Yule decks. In the booklets, there's a great getting to know your deck spread. Use it for all my decks, Oracle and Tarot now. Excellent. But it is about making a connection with them. You do have to get used to them. Christine, cleanse my cards by holding them in smudge smoke and put them in a pan and ring like a bell as it changes the vibration. Sound would be a brilliant way to clean the cards, definitely. Jane, given up buying tarot decks when the shop hasn't got an open pack to look through. Sometimes they look good in the box, but when you take the cellophane off, they can be disappointing. Yes, I agree. It's better to feel them, isn't it? And to have a shuffle through them, definitely. Lizzie cleanses. I cleansed mine using singing bowls. Sound brilliant. Sephora, are you supposed to keep tarot cards in a bag? And if yes, what sort? Okay, so I have one deck here that's in just a velvet bag. There's a couple of little crystals in the bottom. So if you've got a bag, you can pop a couple of tumblestones in. It's just a velvet bag. They sell lots of tarot bags. Etsy's a good place because you get handmade ones. My big tarot deck, my one Aliman one, I've actually got it not in a bag, but in a cloth. So it kind of doubles up. Just put it together so you can see. So it's in a cloth, wrapped in a cloth with a cord around it. So I open the cord and then I've got a cloth to read it with. So, if you can see that. So there's the cards wrapped up in it. But then I've got a cloth that I just lay the cloth out on the deck and I put the cards on it to read. And then I wrap them back up in it. It was just if you go to a fabric store and ask for a fat quarter, you get a piece of material that's just the right size to read your tarot cards on and to wrap them back up in. So when I finish doing the reading, I just wrap them back up in the material and tie the cord around them again. But some people keep them in the boxes that they came in. I think it's entirely up to you how you want to work with them. Most of mine, if I'm using them regularly, I put them in a bag because the box, and this is the box that the Tarotman's, my Magpie deck came in, and it's huge. And it's quite a nice box, but it's a bit cumbersome each time you want to do a reading. So I tend to wrap them in my cloth, and then that's easier for me to work with. Humphrey, there's no right or wrong there, Sephora. Humphrey, I think one of my favourite tarot decks is the Mythic Tarot. And Claire says Rorig Tarot, also very popular. Anne keeps selenite in my bag with my cards. Yep, I think that's a good idea. Janice, I clean mine with salts, but many times I keep crystals with them. I also smudge them. I think crystals, smudging, sound, all brilliant ideas. Karen, I have a small bookshelf with cards and a few more scattered around the house, so no one knows how many I have. Split them up so no one can count them together. Janice, I find when the wrong deck comes into my hands, it's because they belong and are for someone I know. I gift cards now and again. I've done the same, Janice. I've done the same. Maria says you can make your own bag. I made my own cloth. It's lined. Just two pieces, two fat quarters together, hemmed, turned inside out, and yeah, sorted. Very straightforward to do. Sue says most of my Book of Shadows are in a cloth with a tie. Brilliant. Mary Ann, what if you can't connect with one of your cards? Can you leave it out? I think that entirely depends on you. And if you're working with a Magpie deck, you can put in whatever cards you want and take out whatever cards you don't like. I very, very rarely connect with the Hierophant card, or I never used to. I have found with the Magpie deck that you can put one in that you do connect with. But yes, I think you have to trust your intuition on that one. There's no rules that say you can or can't do it. Make it yours, really. Erin, never thought of using fat quarters. I have done quite a lot. I have a journey pouch that's made with a fat quarter as well. Same principle, fabric. Lined, just 2 fat quarters sewn together. It's brilliant because you can get all sorts of different patterns. And if you look around Halloween time, the fabric shops often do packs of Halloween fabric fat quarters, which most of mine are, because you get cool fabric. Eva, when I started reading as a preteen, I used to raid my mum's fabric stash and sew my own bags. Great velvets and brocade fabrics, still have them 30 years later. Brilliant. They are very straightforward to make. And if you don't want to make an actual bag, just get a piece of cloth and wrap them in the piece of cloth. Senia, I love your Jolly Roger cloth for the cards. Yeah, got to have a bit of skulls. Jane Maria's coming in from answering a question there. Jane's asking if Maria's on a different platform. She's coming in via YouTube. I'm streaming live to Facebook and to YouTube today. Sephora, are fat quarters something you could use for quilting? They're generally about 55 centimeters square. That's a fat quarter, 55 centimeters square. So you could absolutely use them for quilting. You cut them into 4 for quilting would be brilliant. Emma, I have a habit of trying to find round cards so I can hold them better. I have small hands. Yeah, I found that struggled with the Thoth cards, actually. The Thoth cards are huge. And I'm rubbish at shuffling. Janice, my hubby thinks I'm crazy with my card collection, but I have cards that resonate with all of my clients, which, yes, too. Actually, Mary Ann, love the idea of the Magpie deck. Thank you so much. Actually, the person that designed the Aliman Tarot, which is what first introduced me to the Magpie decks, said when they do readings for people, because they've got such a big collection of cards and they often changing them in and out, they do a reading for a client and they feel that that client needs to take one of the cards or 2 of the cards home with them. They actually just give them the tarot cards from the reading. You know, here's the Tower from that reading, or here's the Lovers from that reading, kind of thing. And if you make a Magpie deck, you could do that too. It's a brilliant idea. Jane, it's different for everyone, I guess. The Hierophant card speaks volumes to me, especially reversed. Interesting you mention reversed. I don't read reversed cards. I find if you look after your tarot deck that the cards aren't ever going to be upside down anyway. So I very rarely get a reversed card. I trust my intuition that the cards are going to tell me what they need to tell me without it being upside down or not. But so I don't read reversed cards. But I think there will always be cards in a deck that you resonate with and ones that you feel a bit more uncomfortable with. It may be that it's something that you need to work on. I find that anyway. Charlotte crochets her tarot bags, can weave intentions in and use colour magic for each deck. Perfect. Bit of knot magic going in there. Charlotte also crochets her altar cloth. I am crocheting an altar cloth at the moment. Lizzie, silk scarves are great for wrapping cards. Yes, and you can find the old-fashioned silk headscarves. You can find those in the charity thrift shops really cheaply. Sephora hadn't heard the term fat quarters. If you go to a fabric shop and ask for fat quarters, they will know what you're talking about. They won't look at you weirdly. Xenia, a lot of tarot cards are too large to shuffle. Yes, absolutely. Oh, sorry, lots of comments here, just making sure. Eva, I wove a fabric for my goddess medicine bag for the Ark of the Goddess. It was a meditation in honor of my January goddess Ariane Rod. I just fold it over the items. Perfect. Weaving your own sounds amazing. I think it's up to you how you keep them, what you do with them, how you work with them. Lizzie, don't follow the idea of reverse cards having a different meaning either. Because my cards are always sort of wrapped and folded properly, they're never upside down anyway. So it doesn't make sense to me to read them. But I'm not judging, because lots of people do read them reversed. And if that's how you work, then go for it. There's no right or wrong. Zephora, because I'm on a strict budget, I'm going to try and make a goddess statue myself. Has anyone else done this, and any tips? I have tried working with air dry clay. It's very messy, but it's fun. You could look at working, rather than a statue, maybe a spirit doll type. So with twigs, and making a sort of doll from that as well. I've never actually made a statue. It'll be interesting. We'd love to hear how you get on with that. Jane says, sorry, there's lots of comments here. I hope I don't miss any. I wonder if Lush still do their cloth wraps. They'd be good for wrapping decks. Yes, they sell them often for instead of wrapping paper, don't they? If you buy gifts and things, that would work. Janice, on my altar now I have 2 sets of rune stones in a big velvet bag. So fat. I think I've got I don't read runes generally. I have got some in that little wooden box there, but I think they're probably easier to draw out of a bag, definitely. Sue, nearly all my cards come out upside down. If I did not read them, I'd have nothing to read. Mine just never do, because I sort of shuffle them and deal them out and then put them back in. They never come out reversed, because I always put them together the right way up. So, but it has to work for you. Has to work for you. Karen, I used air drying clay as I didn't have a kiln. Her boobs look like they've been stuck on. Air dry clay is very straightforward to use. It's a little bit messy, but it is. Christine, I made a goddess in an air dry clay, and also felted figures. Yes, if you're looking into felting, that felting comes out beautifully. Sephora, I would like to make a version of the plaque behind you, which I believe is from the Sulis temple. Going that way. That round Gorgon head, or Balanus as I call it, is from the Sulis temple in Bath. I've also got a triple goddess one somewhere. I think it's hiding behind the magpie. Hiding behind the magpie wings. Air dry clay would probably work very well for that. Sue, I have a Japanese friend who always makes his own god and goddess for his altar. It's fun. It's fun to make. Oh, that's a good one. Lizzie, wire and papier-mâché. Once dried, you can decorate as you wanted. Also allows you to include what you like in the making of it. Excellent idea. Jane, I'm glad you've said stuff about reversed cards, folks. I would like to go with just taking the context from the surrounding cards. It's just that some cards resonate with me more than others. Yeah, and I think they always will do. I love the death card, for instance. That's one of my favourite cards in all of the decks. I like changes. Good ones. So for me, death is endings and new beginnings, which is cool. You always will. You always will. But you've got to read it for you. You've got to read it. I don't read reverse cards because I never get them. But it has to work for you. Absolutely. And you will find that you will resonate with some cards more than others. I think for me, the Hierophant one freaked me out because the Thoth card has got lots of masks without eyes on the Hierophant card, and that freaked me out a little bit. But yeah, got to make it work for you. No right or wrong there. Erin, I like working with polymer clay. Easy to work with and pretty sturdy once it's baked. Yes, the Fimo polymer clay is quite easy to work with. It's like working with plasticine, isn't it? Janice, one of my gal pals made me a resin female bust. She put petals in it and crystals. You can be so creative. Resin smells. When you're making resin, it smells really yucky. Eva, keep on trying to work with clay. It's not my strong point. Everything comes out looking like a misshapen lump, be it a bear or a goddess. But I think it's the thought and the intent that counts, though, isn't it? Yeah, wire and papier-mâché seems to be a good suggestion too. Janice went down to the river and called to give me the perfect stone. I painted it black and made my goddess sparkly silver. Painting on stones is great fun too and very easy to do. Jane, I made my first set of runes with air drying clay and painted them silver. Still a bit chipped now, but I still love them. And they will be very personal to you. Very personal. Claire's got another tarot book recommendation, Journey of the Fool. Thank you. Karen, I'm assuming this is air dry clay. Dampen it and use wooden tools to smooth it out. But you are beautifully creative, Karen. You make some wonderful things. Trudy bought clay tools from TK Maxx, $2.99. They help getting the effect you want. Brilliant. Lani, love Fimo. I make some chakra shapes that I use on my altar too. Brilliant. Christine, you could paint or draw a goddess of choice and hang it up. Yep. Sephora, my son made the most amazing dragon from papier-mâché. Unfortunately not finished, but stunning. Maybe it will be finished one day. Lots and lots of ideas. Brilliant. Thank you. We ended up talking a lot about tarot, haven't we? I think the big thing with tarot is intuition. And whether you read reversed or not is up to you. But if you get them, I don't get them, so don't read them. It's one of those things. There will always be particular cards that you resonate with. But if you want to create your own deck, make it work for you. Absolutely. Janice, my mother gave me a rune deck. She said I had the Norse within me, so it was the deck I needed. Yes, Ness, who is our Kitchen Witch rune guru, has a rune deck as well. So the cards all have the symbols of the runes on them. But I think the same with Oracle decks. They have to resonate with you. But at the end of the day, all of these things are just tools. The idea of giving the reading, the intuition, the insight, all comes from you. So you could do a reading with, Pokemon cards. It doesn't matter because they are just a tool for you to work with to kickstart, I think, your intuition. Oh, there's a random question. Alexander, if you bind someone and throw away the item, are they forever binded? Until your spell works off. Spells don't always last forever. Depends how strong the intent is. But the idea is to bind them, is to protect yourself or whoever from them. So hopefully it will work for a long time. But I think the effect does tend to wear off after a certain amount of time. Erin, I'll bake my clay sculptures in stages, helps to strengthen them, and it lets me lock in the shape I'm looking for before I go too far and mess it up entirely. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like that idea. Jane, a tube of no nails or equivalent is handy for filling the rumples in clay or papier-mâché. When it's dry, you can scratch more detail into it. Interesting. Thank you. Very good recommendations. Thank you, everyone. So I have a whole list of questions, which we'll do another time because we talked about tarot, which is always good. I was going to show you my Magpie tarot deck anyway today. So there you go. It was all around that. Trust your intuition. Read the cards in a way that suits you. Do go with what you see. The images on the cards are there to spark your insight. Jane says, so that's why I like runes. Ancestry DNA told me I've got Norwegian and Icelandic DNA in there. So it's the Viking thing. Yep, me too, Jane. Me too. I haven't ventured into runes yet. I have got a lot of English DNA, so I'm sticking with that at the minute, but I'll get there. Christine, I make figures in candle wax too. Oh, inner is made of felt or hair, but this could turn your wicked side out. Yeah. Excellent. Trudy, use most things for divination that means something to you. Magpie collection of random things to throw or choose. Yes, if you work with lithomancy, which is a set of bones, shells, crystals, pebbles, buttons, can be anything you like, and you could throw them like you do runes. That's a lithomancy set, which is brilliant. That's, using, and you can use anything for divination. It is just a tool to spark your insight. You are the one that does the reading for it. They are just a tool to spark your inspiration. Definitely with tarot, if you are learning, look at the pictures and say what you see. There are traditional meanings for a lot of them, or for all of them, rather, the tarot cards. But ultimately, it's how you see them. And the meanings will change in each reading, depending on who you're reading for and what cards come out in what order. So trust your intuition and say what you see. Janice loves using candles for readings as well. It's amazing what a flame can tell you. Pyromancy, readings from flames, is brilliant. Although I find that fire can be a little bit fickle, so you have to be careful with what you're reading. But anything can be used for reading. So thank you for joining me. If you are around on Sunday evening, Sunday the 31st of July, 7 p.m, over on the Kitchen Witch Coven Facebook page and the Kitchen Witch Coven YouTube channel, we will be doing our live Lunarsar ritual. Open to everyone. There is a craft spell to make. The details are on the event in the Kitchen Witch Coven of what you need. You can rock up with nothing. You don't need to have anything. You can just follow the ritual along if you want to. But if you want to make the craft spell along with us live, then have a look for the list of the things that you need. It's always fun. It's always interesting to see what we come up with. But that's Sunday the 31st, 7 p.m. over on Kitchen Witch. It is lovely to have you all join me today. Thank you so much for always rocking up on a Friday morning. It is the highlight of my week, and I love chatting with you guys. I've learned stuff from you today. Hopefully, you guys have learned things as well. If there's anything specific you want me to talk about in future chats, just drop me a note and we will see what we can do. And I've still got a list of whole questions for next time, but I will be doing weather and storm magic in the next, within the next couple. Hopefully next week, might be the week after. But I will see you all on Sunday at the Lunarsar Ritual if you're around. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Sue, do not need to apologize at all. Big hugs to you, my lovely. Hang in there. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.